shit right before we go live. Like 7:59, I get blown up. That's not that kind. It's like nobody talks to me, right? Until like right before I go live. My phone just is like, "Hey, look, everyone on earth is like, what are you doing today?" Okay. Let me get situated here. I was having a hard time today. I had to remake a video twice today already. I'm struggle bussing. Hey, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. And hey, I don't say it often enough, but god damn it, I'm a socialist. For those of you uninitiated, let me just break down what I deem as my definition of socialism. Good to go? And I'm basing it on Webster's dictionary. I know, super original. So, socialism, as an argument, is any egalitarian movement. And I know that if this is the first time you've heard me say that, your brain just probably goddamn broke. Because egalitarian is one of them words that you hear that you're just like, this, what? And long story short, it just means pro equality. So, dumb dumb. I know you're sitting over there like egalitarian. That man's caught up in word soup. Like, no, it means pro equality. Ding ding dong. Pro equality. We're all equal. And also, Slipknot said people equal shit. So deal with that. Okay. So sorry. Sometimes I make myself laugh. Okay. You have to laugh at yourself sometimes. Okay, so along the lines of any egalitarian movement that involves things like the seizure of the means of production, and all this means, are you ready for this? Is I love it when I meet someone that owns their own business who decided, God damn it, I'll do it myself. I love it when I meet someone that owns a farm, owns an orchard, owns a farmer's market, owns a flea market, like actually owns their own business, right? Has employees that they take care of that have worked for them for a long time. Like I think that was the first job I got out of college, was working for a company less than 150 employees. hmm I worked there for 5 years. Okay. I would much rather work for a small business because there are less people between me and the leadership. And if I see that somebody's corrupt as fuck, and I'm like, hey, we can't have that in leadership in a company. You can't have somebody that will look the other way. You can't have that. You got to do it the right way at all times. Otherwise, it's gonna kneecap your growth. Okay. So understand that in the capitalist system we're in, right? Hey, the beatings will continue regardless as to whether or not morale improves. So understand that that's not getting any fucking better. Capitalism's not going to untighten the noose. That's not how it works. We need to get rid of private equity. Private equity is ruining our lives because things must stay the same because private equity has its hand in everything. Do you understand now? Do you understand why nothing ever changes? Is because all of the money has been concentrated into BlackRock, right? Into Vanguard, right? And they are over invested in a range of markets. There's a reason people's retirements are taking a fucking absolute dumpster fire. And that's because companies like BlackRock and Vanguard were heavily invested in Elon Musk's companies, in Tesla and SpaceX, right? Whole states in the United States are no longer buying that stock. And I think that we live in a country where you talk about like public versus private entity. You know, I would much rather a corporation, a company, have to exist on its ability to make money rather than its ability to live off government contract. And I think we can all agree with that. The problem that we have in the United States right now is that our tax money is being given to billionaires, right? And I think that we should make a small change to the tax code, maybe legalize cannabis. We should give ourselves universal health care, education, income, and housing. You know, if we're going to asphyxiate or burn to death, we might as well be fucking fat and happy, right? That's the way I figure. If these corporations are going to destroy the environment to the point where climate change that we're beyond the point of no return, by the way. I know that you're all just like waiting for me to drop that bomb. Uh literally. Um, and just heads up that the weather is just going to continue to get more volatile. Okay, that's just the situation we're in. Okay, so again, we don't talk about socialism enough. We don't talk about what the American Socialist Party's foundation is. Okay, as though it's not something to be very proud of, as though it's something I need to hide or not talk about. And I haven't been ashamed about it, and I haven't been like necessarily scared about it, but I've been cognizant of it, of its potential to have a negative impact where people are just woefully misunderstood. And I've been doing like tons of research. Tons. Here's an interesting piece of data. When I look at what people all over the world have to say about their own countries and what they love about their own countries, do you know what like 75% of the things that they're proud of in their country are? And I know there's people in the audience that know what I'm about to say. But when people compliment their own country all over the world, I'm not talking about the United States, I'm talking about what people all over the world have to say about their own country. What are they the most proud of? What do you think they're most proud of? Somebody said, "Hello, my friend has been kicked out of about 109 bars. Do you think it's his fault?" I mean, fool me first. What is it? Fool me the first time, shame on me. Fool me second time, shame on you. Whatever, you know. I think he's well past the part of it being his fault and it being like the intent. Yeah, I want you to have. They are most proud of their social programs. Think about what are you proud of? You know what I'm really proud of? I'm proud of growing up in an area patrolled by volunteer fire department where there were multiple house fires and none of us lost our houses because the volunteer fire department got there lickety fucking split. That's a socialist program, right? That's what I have good to say about my country. When I was growing up, I was in an area patrolled by a volunteer fire department, and had it not been for that fire department, I'm not saying one house didn't burn down. I'm saying multiple fucking homes didn't burn down because we had a VFD. That is a socialist program. Most of the time, when someone's talking positively about the country they're from, they're most proud of their social programs, actually, factually. And you'll see quotes, and I want you to think about what social programs are, right? Free education, housing, right? There are countries, there are countries that create so much electricity that everybody has free electricity, for example. Whole countries. Now, is that necessarily feasible in the United States? No. But is there a major risk in the United States that you can think of where you're like, hey, Jared, it might be in our best interest, like much of the world has done, to invest our infrastructure in renewable sources of energy, like solar, wind, water, shit like that? Yeah, yeah. Those are going to have to be social programs, or those are going to have to be public companies. Those are a failure in marketing, those things, because the world doesn't give a shit. The world is putting up solar, wind, water. They're learning to grow gardens. They're getting away from the large corporations that are literally donating to your demise. All these places that we've said we're no longer fucking doing business with, they pay less taxes and donate to your demise. Is that what you want to continue to do? Okay, we have to overturn Citizens United. We're never doing that with the Democratic Party that's taken over by Israel or the Republican Party that's taken over by Russia. Okay, we're never doing that with the rampant quid pro quo, the sort of I won't have you arrested, you don't talk too negatively about me, right? Is sort of where we are, right? I also want to point out, we gotta stop fucking fear mongering. Okay, there's way too many people out here talking about these executive orders and presidential orders and the suspension of habeas corpus, and I got a lot of people, again, a lot of people that are not in danger themselves. White people. Okay, you can be outspoken as fuck, but as long as you stay in your house, you're not a target. Okay? With the way this administration's going, one of the problems that I have is I keep seeing white people talking about violence knowing you're not the target. Do you see what I'm saying? If your content that you're putting out is telling someone else to be violent, you are putting other people, their safety, below yours. And you're saying, up in my high castle, I want you to know I'm a white male. I know that I am a white passing male. I look like a dude. When I leave my house, I'm going to get treated like a fucking dude. Which I don't know. I don't know. My wife says I need a fucking camera on me at all times. Cuz she's like, "You blow people the fuck away when you open your fucking mouth." They're just like, "Just shut the fuck up." What? Yeah. So, yeah, I live in Indiana. I live in Indiana. Not really shocking. Okay. So I know how my own family treats people that don't look like me. I know how the men in my family treat the women in my family. There's a reason I don't really fuck with the men in my family. Mostly because how you treat people that you can't fuck says a lot about you. And one of the things that you learn, that I've learned getting into coaching, is it says everything about you how you treat people that can do you no good. That's what I've learned. It says leagues about you how you treat people who can do you no good. Those throwaway people. I try to take care of those people. I try to make myself a part of those people's lives. Now, I joke about the Republican Party being the island of misfit toys, but we all are, really, right? So if your content as a white person, if your content is out here calling for people to become prickly and not be willing to be arrested, I just want to point out all the people that are being returned from custody and being released from custody pretty quick, and that they're not going to be able to suspend habeas corpus. That would require a modification to the Constitution. It would require a constitutional convention. It would require two-thirds states to vote to ratify a change to the Constitution at a constitutional convention that we are nowhere near fucking having. What are they going to do? Hold the Democrats by gunpoint and make them fucking vote to ratify the Constitution to suspend habeas corpus? Which is literally, habeas corpus is in the Constitution. And also, the regime in power got a report in the last 30 days that says there is no invasion or insurrection. They do not have good standings to suspend habeas corpus. Yes, Stephen Miller floating the idea because he's a fucking idiot. Yes, Donald Trump's talking about it. Yes, of course. Of course. Why wouldn't they want to stop anyone's ability to look over their shoulder and say, yo, that's fucked up. You can't do that. Hey, I'm just throwing this out there. What Donald Trump and this regime is doing is ordering privately funded ICE agents who are not the best in the business. Hey, I'm gonna say this into a camera. When it takes 30 of you in body armor to take one woman away from her child and arrest her, you've lost the plot. We've lost. You've lost. Okay? So it's a lost cause. It's already a lost cause. We're ripping kids away from their moms. And it's taken 30 fucking police officers to get that done. Do you know how woefully inefficient that is and how dumb law enforcement looks right now? Okay? Yes. And the thing about it is they don't want you to turn your anger towards them. Remember, it's the people that are holding Donald Trump's water that are also a really big problem. They're doing it out of fear. They are afraid. Think about this. They're not afraid of Democrats. They're afraid of their own voters. If we don't stand by Donald Trump, their voters will crucify us. That's literally where they are right now. Yeah, they're scrambling. To the surprise of absolutely no one, I just want to point out one of my members of my mod team, the Modriarchy, Brasher, she helped me with my resume. I still get fucking phone calls off that resume. I just want to point that out. It's absolutely outstanding. Yep. One of my colleagues helped me with that. We had like a conversation and she built it using AI. That's about what it's good for, though, is doing a bunch of work. All right. What's going on? All right. So remember what we've said is like, look, we don't use Twitter. What about the Opus Dei cult? In lieu of Twitter, Reddit is about as good as it gets. Okay. A lot of people are going to be disappointed in that. Here are some of the sites that I. Okay. And again, I got to get more involved. I keep forgetting that I found, hey, we were looking for like daily protest, right? Mayday's here. So here's the Mayday movement. Okay. Join us on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. to demand the impeachment, conviction, and removal of President Donald J. Trump. Continuous peaceful protest. Okay? You can make art and media, donate, and you can actually join. Okay? So I know not everyone lives in Washington, D.C. I'm just pointing it out. Like, hey, we said we needed, South Korea. They protested for months, twice, to oust their poor leadership. Okay? Art of the deal, LOL. I just want to point this out. Donald Trump imposed these fucking tariffs on and got into this tariff war with China, right? Meets with them, and he's like, art of the deal. I got our tariff reduced by 135%. And it's like, okay, where's it at now? 10%. Where was it before you got involved? 10%. You fucking idiot. You did all that showboating for nothing? Literal no things? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Don? Again, one of the things we have to do is we have to talk about the truth. I understand it's only a 90-day pause. I understand that shipping is already fucked up. The supply chain's already fucked. Shit is going to be disrupted. What I think this means in the short term is just trucks are late, shipments are late, which could constrain some supply. But I think the machine is too big to stop. Is ultimately my fear, is that this capitalist machine is just too big to defeat, and that it can't even fail. It just must keep trudging on. This consumerist, capitalist fucking society we live in is bizarre. It's bizarre the way people behave. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Hey, look, let me, Cece, let me explain this to you. Okay, I work in finance. Okay, I'm not an FA. FAs don't get paid enough. I'm not an FA. I'm just in finance, and I help people get out of debt. Okay, and last night, the last conversation I had before I went to bed, without giving away too much detail about this person, they were loaded. They were profiting just a shade under $20,000 a month after taxes as income between them and their spouse. Now, they were paying a really high mortgage. They had over $1,000 in car payments. Lots of their costs felt a little ballooned, but it was the end of the day. You're like, whatever. You're rich. Let you pay $500 a month for cable. Like, whatever. Um, and then come back around to it after it's all said and done, right? Makes all this money. They're doing real good. They have less available income per month than they pay in taxes on all of their unsecured debt. And I said, it's actually a really simple math problem. After you pay all your bills, you feel like you got a couple $1,000s left? Yeah. Okay. If you could pay off your unsecured debt, you'd have the better part of $5,000 a month in your pocket after you pay all your other bills. I don't know about you, but being able to put $70,000 in the bank every year sounds awesome. And not paying $3,000 a month for all your debt sounds awesome. And I want whatever's the shortest path to that if I'm you, right? Because we ain't qualifying for bankruptcy with that high income. And he's like, I guess I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And I said, paying $2,000 a month in interest? And they explained to me that they value the relationship with their credit cards. We get points. And I said, points? Wouldn't you rather have $2,000 in your pocket? And he laughed at me about paying for stuff with cash. Some people, remember, I like chaos. I like it when things are kind of chaotic. It's the environment I thrive in. But when I see it for someone else where their brain has been eaten, fuck it. Have a good one. You know? Like, hey, I can't. There are just some people. There are some people, my dear, if you gave them a hammer, all they would do is hit themselves in the thumb with it. I'm telling you. There's a reason I'm like very pro union, right? Some people, if you gave them a hammer, they'd hit themselves in the thumb. That's about what they're good for. What up, Coach Gene? It would be funny if that was Gene Katie. Man, we haven't talked in a long time, huh? Here's Donald Trump accepting prisoners being released by Hamas. Uh, we have a governor race in New Jersey yesterday. Hey, I didn't know that. So how do we know? Son of a bitch. I would love to have used my platform to tell people to vote. My bad. Hey, I gotta have people keeping me up on elections and shit. Sorry, I'm not. I mean, I thought, oh, maybe we're not on our politics or something enough. Here's the Texas House expanding the state medical marijuana program. Okay, that's a big state. Okay, it's a lot of people. It means a lot of money for billionaires. Okay, unless we're able to overturn Citizens United and vote in a completely different direction. I hope I already said that and I didn't dream it. That hey, we have to form a new political party that is not neither Democrat nor Republican. The Democrats are completely owned by Israel, the Republicans are completely owned by Russia. I will never give another dime of my money to any of those organizations. I'm not doing it. I'm forming the American Socialist Party. There's only like 600 jobs in politics nationwide. And some of you that are listening to me right now it's your turn. It's your turn. You have the necessary skills and experience to run for political office. Before I run for political office, I'm getting a degree in political science at the very least. Okay? And if that's in the next year or two, it's in the next year or two. Okay? A lot of people are saying, like, we don't have time, we need people now. And it's just like, no, you don't understand how important it is to have someone that founded the political party that is also not trying to prop themselves up as a political candidate and using their platform for like to gain private wealth, right? You have to have leadership that ultimately is making a sacrifice. Does that make sense? I hope there's people that are like, yes, Jared, that makes perfect sense. You have to have this person at at the intersection of where we are in the world. You have to have a person atop of the American Socialist Party. I am a union member. I'm an Eagle Scout. I have a college degree. I served my country. Who else do you want? What other things do I have to have for me to have legitimacy? I think I have to have. I think I have to have a degree in political science. Not for anyone, right? And that's one of the things that's beautiful about this, in my opinion, is I'm not getting the degree for someone. I just kind of think it lends credibility to me as the founder, right? And that is wildly important because people are going to decide whether they support it or not, right? Based on who's the founder, right? Like think about this: who's the founder of the Democratic Party? Who's the founder of the Republican Party? Crickets. Right? Like, who founded those parties? Okay, now look at their current state and think about the Democratic Party, think about the Republican Party and their heads of leadership and how they are operating, and say to yourself, would I rather call myself a fucking socialist and have that guy be helping to figure out who are supposed to be running for office? Who is supposed to have these jobs? By the way, we just got restricted on fucking TikTok for this. So tell me we're not talking about something wildly important. When we're not disparaging anyone, right? We're simply talking about how this capitalistic machine is going to eat us if we don't make not a third party. It's not a third party. I wish we'd stop even thinking about that concept. We have to create a socialist party, a party that stands up and says, hey, a small change to the tax code, maybe we legalize cannabis, we could have universal healthcare, education, income, and housing. We could eliminate tax, interest, and rent with these changes. Okay. So I'm going to restart on TikTok. We are being suppressed like a motherfucker on TikTok, by the way. Oh, yeah. We are being suppressed. We are being suppressed on TikTok. Think about what we're talking about when we have problems on TikTok. Like, think about what I was saying. Hey, despite this regime, no, I did not get banned on TikTok. We got restricted for what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. So I think I don't know whatever we were talking about there. I was probably saying racism is bad, okay, and people, oh. Yeah, we could be talking about Jesus and they'd ban us. Yeah, actually, that would just be fucking weird. So anyway, Illinois is returning stolen land to the Indians again, despite this regime. Jesus Christ. Could have done anything. Could have done anything. Democratic Party's the oldest. Okay. Again, I want to think about how smart is my YouTube chat, right? And I literally asked, and I'm not being a smartass, I'm just being real. Who founded the Democratic Party or the Republican Party? Do you know? Who did? Who did? How old are those parties? What were their founding principles? What was the person that founded them doing, right? When they started the party. Oh, he hosted a daily live podcast where he discussed news and politics. Gabby said it. Andrew Jackson started. Lincoln started it. Okay. I'm very pro equality, pro union. I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. Rent, interest, and tax are derivative of your labor and should be removed. Private equity is destroying us. We have to overturn Citizens United. The Supreme Court the Supreme Court's cooked. You got to add 4 Supreme Court seats. You also have to have term limits for Supreme Court justices. You have to have an enforceable code of ethics for Supreme Court justices. You have to get foreign interest out of our political system. Understand, Bondi okayed Donald Trump's reception of a $400 airplane from Qatar because she was an envoy to Qatar. For $150,000 a month, she worked for Qatar. She was an envoy to the U.S. for Qatar. Cronyism. It's illegal as fuck. Donald Trump should not be taking a fucking $400. I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just easy to point out. It's like it's bait question, right? Who founded the fucking Republican and Democratic parties? Do you know who did? Do you know what their founding principles were? Okay, how about now? Yeah. How about now? You are looking at the founder of a political party who is going out of my way to not rustle any feathers and just calmly enter, right? Think about what I'm doing, right? I'm going to go coach football. I have a day job. I'm just like y'all. I'm a union member, right? And then one day, cause the way I gotta think about it is I gotta have $1,000 I can afford to lose, right? That I'll never get back in order to get this thing started. And I'm not asking people that I care about for money that I may lose. See, what may happen is I may take $1,000, get a bank account. See, those things are things I can easily do. I can easily do those things. But then I could not get an ITN, a tax ID, and I could not get FEC membership. And that derails my legitimacy. So there's a reason that I'm going slow. Is that I have to come up with $1,000 that if I put $1,000 in that bank account, I'm not getting it back. Is the way I look at it. It's not an investment. I'm not ever getting it back. We need it. Does that make sense? Like we have to have it. In order for you to be a political party, you have to at least have raised 1,000, spent 5,000. So that's more money. You have to have a bank account and a tax ID. So again, in the order of operations, then is I have to have $1,000 that if I lose that money, it doesn't matter. It's not if the Socialist Party cannot be right. I want to be able to say, well, the money doesn't matter, and I'm not in that financial position. I don't know about any of y'all. Okay, so I don't know about anyone else, but I can't just shit $1,000 that if I lose it, I'm okay with that. And then in order to legitimize the beginnings of a political party. And by the way, I was in a position to do that for a moment. And when I went to start the bank account, it right away it asked me if we were political. And I was like, whoa, that was crazy. On the application to start a bank account, they were asking if me if it was a political organization. Not with a credit union. So I noped out of that. And life happens. Long story short, my wife's brakes went out on her car, and I burnt myself at work, and my computer went down at work, so I didn't work for a couple days, right? Y'all remember this. So there's a reason that has affected my mobility, my ability to do stuff. Okay? So I want you to know it's not that I'm lazy or entitled or I'm trying to abdicate my responsibilities. No, I have a choice to make, had a choice to make, and this is the choice I made. We had to either raise 1,000 or spend 5 racks. I think 1,000 is less than 5,000. We could raise the money to be able to start a bank account, get an ITN, join the FEC, be a legitimate political party, start fundraising. Okay? But I can't imagine how I would feel if you gave me money to help me build this party and it failed. And then I'm like, fuck, I gotta like give all that fucking money back and shit. Like, ugh. Right? So what I would much rather do, and it's just an undertaking, and it's taking a month or two longer than I thought it would, and it has cost me relationships with people that just expected me to jump when they say how high, right? So just so everyone understands, I'm also cognizant that I am on the radar of people in my community that don't like and agree with me. That, for the record, are driving people to me, and our content is has become more popular, and so fucking thank you, I think, for putting my name on social media websites that I'm not on, that is adding people to my audience that are like, hey, he's not a total fucking asshole. That's weird. Okay. So, again, unlike everyone else, it seems everyone else in politics is scumbag as fuck. And I'm choosing instead to say, I'm just going to be really goddamn good at my job, make enough money to where I could pay my bills, and maybe one day soon I'll have $1,000 that if I fucking lose that, it's not the end of the world. And I can go ahead and move forward with the American Socialist Party and make it legitimate. And then put a link in the chat every few minutes and shit like that and try to fundraise and shit like that. And again, I'm not really even looking forward to that. I would much rather just sit here and talk to y'all. Do you understand? But I am cognizant of I have to, between now and doing that, I have to figure out, and what are we fundraising for? What is our goal? And I think our goal is we want to be able to make a commercial. We need a commercial, and we need a budget, we need ideas. We need someone that is recognizable, that has viewed my content, that sees what I'm saying, says this is the path forward. This young man is sacrificing himself, knowing, like, if you're a socialist, you can't go be a capitalist. Do you get it now? Like, I'm kneecapping my ability to make money, and I've said, like, money can't make you happy, kid. It's what do people say in rooms you ain't in? That's what the fuck'll make you happy, kid. Is when people are speaking well on your fucking name when you ain't in that room. I don't know. I don't really know. What does KAG mean? Good morning, Jerry. Yeah, but understand, I made content saying the president of the United States is extorting Qatar out of a luxury jet. And it turns out, no, that's actually his payment for the resort that he built in Qatar. And I want to continue to point out what happened in Qatar at Donald Trump's resort. Donald Trump, his organization, imported labor from Myanmar, hundreds of these people, these poor people, in search of a better life. He lured them under false pretense to his resort in Qatar. And then they immediately took away their identification, put them in group housing, and then they pay them less than they charge them to live in group housing in terrible living conditions. That's Qatar. So imagine going to that resort and paying money to stay there, and know that when you see the groundskeepers, that's basically forced labor. That's so if you're proud of Donald J. Trump, you're proud of his exploitation, his willingness to exploit people and profit off their suffering. Somebody said that they're a travel agent. They don't book any of his hotels good. It's that kind of resistance, right? So make sure we talk about how are we participating in the resistance, right? We talked about the easiest thing that you can do is just stop using Facebook, Instagram, Threads, WhatsApp, Twitter. It's probably wise if you try to move off of Amazon. And what I mean by that is instead of just searching for what you're looking for on Amazon, buying it on Amazon and having it shipped, if you just click a couple buttons, you could actually get to cheaper prices and shipped from the person producing it instead of paying an extra fee to Amazon. Okay? Well, here's the thing about this airplane that he has is that it doesn't have the safety features and the defense features that Air Force One does. So my concern is that the bigger the object, the easier to hit. And if you had any wonder how this ended, what does capitalism need to happen to survive? And that's Donald Trump appear to not maybe not actually get M-worded, muerted, but maybe it's questionable. Like, I don't know, an airplane gets shot out of the sky. Again, you have to understand that part of the Democratic Party is the Blue Dog Caucus, which is 54 elected officials who vote conservatively. So if you ever wondered who's kneecapping the resistance, there are 54 elected Democrats that consistently vote conservative. Nick said, "Oh, I love the flags." Would yeah, yeah. They're gifts. Actually, two of these aren't actually here. A couple of the kids I coach that are now in college, um, they asked, can I buy those or? And I said, no, they're a gift. You can have whichever one you want. So I think they left me with the Purdue one. And they'll take the Colts one and the Pacers one. They're just in college kids. She said somebody revamping that plane to get defense up to date. Okay. So that's what I was going to say. Do you know how fucking stupid it would be for the President of the United States to accept a plane from a foreign country and just start flying the fuck around in this big ass airplane without modern security features? Do you know how fucking stupid that is? I mean, it's totally in Donald Trump's fucking wheelhouse, right? Where he would totally take an aircraft from a foreign country and just fly in that bitch like it ain't no thing. Somebody in my YouTube chat says their husband works for the company that's revamping the security. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's bugged the fuck out of. I'm sure there's ears all over that fucking thing. And that's the dumb shit about this. He's like a little boy. He saw this palace in the sky fucking plane and was like, want. But hey, again, one of the things I will never do is pray for anyone's the end of their life. But if ever there was a fucking situation where I'm like, man, could we just fail miserably one time and it be, you know, an unrecoverable aircraft accident or something? I don't know, man. A man can dream. If he's gonna ruin Christmas, I hope it's his fault too. I hope he makes it just too tubby to fly. You know what I'm saying? Golden Arches M on it. Gold's heavy. Yeah, gold's heavy too. And Donald Trump's totally the kind of person to not listen to a flight master when they tell you like, "Yo, your dispersion of the weight on this aircraft is fucking insane and you can't do this." But you know what's even crazier, Terry, is Donald Trump is more likely to be like, "Well, just paint something lighter gold and call it gold." Right? He's way more likely to cut fucking corners, right? Don't get it fucking twisted. Don't act like Donald Trump's not gonna fucking gold make everything gold. But I want to point out there's a difference between tacky ass gold. The dude abides said Trump owns your weak mind. Yeah, my weak mind that makes $1,000 a day working from home. Yep, my weak mind in finance. My weak mind that's a math ace. My weak mind. Yeah, I'm embarrassing myself. Mm. With my platform. hmm that wants everyone to have healthcare, education, income, and housing. hmm is embarrassing. I'm completely embarrassed for wanting equality, for telling people to join unions, for joining a union myself, for telling people to protest and protesting myself. I'm embarrassing. Embarrassed. That's the emotion I should be feeling. Remember, here is a principal schedule. Remember, we shared the May Day. We're at the point where there are daily protests in Washington, D.C. Okay? Yeah, it's so fucking embarrassing to sit and talk about the news. You know what I was thinking about this morning? You know what my show is? My show is I'm your dad that can actually have a conversation about the news and politics without getting beat red and pounding my fist on the table and walking out and us not talking for weeks and months at a time. Like, no, every fucking day, every morning, we're going to sit down. We're going to have a rational conversation about what is actually going on in the world. Okay? You gotta understand, there's a lot of fucking smoke, sir and ma'am. There's a lot of shit that pops off, and it's no thing. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. But it sounds and it looks like a holy shit. Okay? And a lot of times where there's smoke, there's fire. Sure, sure. There have been some bills that have been drafted. Mm-hmm. There's been some bills that have been drafted. Okay? But that man has passed the following legislation. He has stopped the production of the penny. Okay? He has banned paper straws. He signed a continuing resolution. He signed the Laken Riley Act, which requires the detention. I want you to pay attention to this. He signed the Laken Riley Act, which requires that the U.S. detain any immigrant suspected of having committed a crime. And I just wanted you to know that that means that he signed an act and then violated it like hundreds of fucking times. What what are we doing? Ain't nobody saying like, "Hey Don, every time ICE picks someone up without a fucking warrant, it's a violation of the fucking Laken Riley Act if they don't get their day in court and you just fucking put them on an airplane in a Velo Airlines and the New England Patriots private jet is being contracted to fly people to Guantanamo Bay, as if you needed any other reason to fucking hate the Patriots and Robert Kraft specifically. You fuck. In case you didn't know that. That's right. If you're a person of color, if you're outspoken against this regime and you're a Patriots fan, how? How? If you care about due process, right? The rule of law, how the fuck are you a Patriots fan? Now that you know Robert Kraft contracts the Patriots team jet out to help this administration with kidnapping and trafficking of, well, like hundreds of people at this point. Yeah, that's correct. That's the beautiful thing about being a Colts fan. This team last year was without a true starting quarterback and was basically a 500 football team. So the football team is going to be good, and the quarterback is young. Mm-hmm. It might take another year to get around the lack of talent. Time to outshine wannabe our leader. Who's leader? I am a leader. I get up every day for the last 6 months. We are one. Gabby said Bill Belichick needs money for his 20-year-old girlfriend. Bill Belichick's not a part of the Patriots organization anymore, but that's funny. I think he's at the University of North Carolina working with Mac Brown, if I understand that correctly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Love it for him. Love it for the one thing, Bill Belichick is incredible. Do you know what Bill Belichick did when he retired from coaching? It's the sweetest fucking thing ever. Coach Tommy knows what I'm talking about. This dude had just retired, had a legendary fucking career, could have never shown his face again and just done the TV and taken the TV money, right? And what did he do? Well, Nick Saban retires. And Nick Saban retires, and to be very clear and say it very directly, Alabama fucking stole Washington's fucking head coach because he was going to go on a fucking tear. Wash was going to be nasty under Kalen DeBoer, and Alabama stole him. And he's going to have just as successful a career in Alabama as Nick Saban did. He's a fantastic fucking football coach. But what you did was leave a gaping fucking hole at the University of Washington. And what did Bill Belichick do? Bill Belichick joined a very young staff at the University of Washington along with a bunch of other former NFL coaches and helped that program. And I think the fucking world of that. Could have done no things. Could have done nothing. Could have just soaked up the fucking sun and golfed and take the TV money. And what did he do? Went and fucking clipboarded his ass and was out there on a football field somewhere. That's a fucking ball coach. Okay? So you'll never catch me talking shit about Bill Belichick. Fuck that shit. I coach football for real. That man is awesome. Tom Brady, fucking awesome. Okay? I've met Tom Brady. I got to ask him a question. I told him, I fucking hate you forever, but I love you forever, and it's weird, I know. I hate you, but I love you. It's weird. And then I asked him, you've won a bunch of Super Bowls, right? You've been to a bunch of Super Bowls. You've played a ton of meaningful football in your career. Congratulations on your career. And he's like, thanks, man. And I was like, I have one question. What is the difference between the teams that won it all and the team that fell short, and the team that lost in the AFC Championship, the team that lost in the divisional, the team that didn't make it? What was the difference between the teams that won it all and the teams that didn't in your career? And he goes, that's a really good question. And he sat there for a minute and he was kind of thinking. And he's like, are you kidding? And he's like, conditioning. So it's about buy-in, and the years that we won the Super Bowl, he said, first of all, we were really lucky that we had good luck with injury. You just got to get lucky. Everybody's going to be healthy at the right time. And then he said, we fucking conditioned, man. We were everyone was bought in. Everybody was showing up to the weight room in the off season. Everybody was getting bigger and stronger and faster as much as you could fucking do it, and staying after practice and doing more than the organization was asking, right? And really bought into that. And he said, and he put his head down, by the way. Fucking most human shit you'll ever see out of Tom Brady. I'm telling you, I have his most human moment where I was like, ha ha ha, that's kryptonite, is when everybody else sucks. Awesome. So he said, and then there were just years, and he's in his head, and in my brain, I'm like, 16 of those motherfuckers too. Fuck you, Tom. 16 years where people will just, they got married, they had kids, they were getting to the end of their career, and they were thinking about what they were going to do after, and they were starting to go to school, and people built businesses, and they made bad decisions, and those decisions had negative impacts on their quality of life, which impacted them at work, which impacted a quality of product that you saw on the field. For most of my fucking career was plagued by people just being happy having made it to the fucking NFL, Jared. And he said it eats me alive that he said, and one of the things that you know when you're an athlete yourself and a coach is that team championships are not an individual statistic. And I'm also a data analyst by trade, and I work in finance. So I know what winning is. Winning is not on an individual. It also doesn't belong to an individual. So when you talk about greatness, you don't talk about, oh, he won 6 fucking Super Bowls. You do. You do. You do. Okay? But what I think about is, are you man enough to talk about when it didn't work? When it didn't work out for you? When it didn't go your fucking way? And the thing that I will always fucking hate you forever, Tom Brady. I fucking hate. Oh my God. Do you know how many fucking parties that man has ruined? Let's just fucking, we'll leave it there, okay? I have fucking unending rage, right? But the absolute most human moment I have ever had with another grown man was standing next to Tom Brady, asking him what happened all them fucking years you didn't win. I just want to know, because all them years you fucking won, I'll be real honest with you, y'all looked fucking, y'all had some fucking defenses early in your career that, oh my God, the New England fucking defense in the early fucking 2000s, late aughts, woo-hoo-hoo, that late 90s, early aughts, sorry, okay, were fucking outstanding. And their offense they just pounded the fucking rock. To be honest with you, it was like Tom Brady was not the feature. He was just very consistent, very above average consistent. And when you get above average consistent play out of your quarterback, and everyone else is on the verge of overperforming, and everybody's trying to get better, and they're working after practice and working their fucking ass off every day like a dog, you're gonna win a lot. And when people are unfocused and they don't care about the fucking team, and they're not all in on this, and they're not staying after practice anymore, they got to go do media, they got to go do, oh, I'm getting my shot on Sports Center, I got to go do my thing, you know what I mean? Like when they're not as focused, when they're not as about the New England Patriots, we ain't gonna win. And I think that's, as a football coach, to have that in my back pocket, to know this and get to bring this everywhere I go, it's fucking awesome. I've also talked to Nick Saban. I asked him, what's the difference between you and everyone else? And he told me, we throw the fucking slant Jared, and we don't play a base defense. So it's about money to live. What? Universal income? Yes. You're right, Cameron, when they didn't have better things to do, their lives weren't going as well. Yeah. Absolutely. And you think of all the personalities he played with. Hmm. But Tom Brady thinks he should have twice the rings. That's what's fucking scary about Tom Brady, about Bill Belichick, about what that organization represents. You could be a hater all fucking day, and I am a grade A motherfucking hater of the New England Patriots. You better goddamn believe it. I'll be the first one to line up and say, hate them. But you gotta lay respect where respect is due, friend. You know what I mean? Wouldn't shake his fucking hand, but I'd be like, that's Robert Kraft right there. Fuck that guy. And I did tell Tom Brady that I fucking hate you and I love you at the same time, and it's weird. Because I'm a quarterback and he went to Michigan and I'm from Indiana and I'm a quarterback and I went to Purdue and you know what I mean? Like nobody would take a chance on a kid that didn't play quarterback in high school. But Joe Tiller did. And not only did Joe Tiller take a chance on me, but he showed me why you should never get down on yourself. I don't know if I've told you this story, but I was in my Fifis my freshman year of college. I was like, I'm not going to get a play. I don't even think I'm going to dress for the game. They only dress three quarterbacks. Might dress four, but there's like five or six of us in this room, and I don't even think I'm going to get dressed for games. I was in my feelings. They didn't issue me a uniform at first until somebody got hurt. There's a pattern to this, okay? So, documentary active measures, yes, I have. So, my first year, I didn't get to take a lot of the offensive snaps. I mostly played like scout team quarterback. And even more than that, as they were preparing other quarterbacks on using that scout team quarterback to prepare people to get more snaps with the offense, I was actually teaching the opposing offense to our defense. So one of the unique things about my time playing football at the Division 1 level, at the Big 10 level, was that the first year as a walk-on quarterback, Joe Tiller quickly recognized this kid is a fucking video gamer, plays NCAA football, and can literally tell you what our opponent's offense does, can use video games to show you that and demonstrate what their plays are. And at the time, just so y'all know, the offenses back 20 fucking years ago in college football were actually pretty close. They were actually pretty close to what the teams actually do. It's pretty funny. Um, so yeah, so instead of having that like I all I did was football, blah 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 blah, bash my head into some shit. Like no, I had to learn how to teach adult people like Jacques Reeves and Nico Kudavides, uh, to name drop. I had to teach them Northwestern's fucking offense, which was a bitch back in the day. That shit was fucking. I'll never forget that week of my life. It was holy shit. Northwestern's like onto something. They just suck at recruiting. Yeah, nobody wants to go there. Smile says goes Pacers. Let's close this out tonight, baby. No kidding, right? That was a big blowout the other day. You realize how big that Pacers win was, and they were down a starter because he got ejected for punching another dude in the chest, and he totally deserved it. I hate that guy. But yeah, the Pacers are going to gentlemen sweep the Cavs. At least that's a hope. And I think the Pacers are clearly the better team, and they've demonstrated that. The Cavs did have a bounce back game, which I expected. They're a fucking good team. Aren't they like the best team in the East? So they threw up 80 in the front half, bro. I went to sleep. I thought we were good. Yeah, Yeah, I thought about getting up and going to bed at halftime when it was like 80 to 39, and I was like, "Oh, this shit is fucking over." But then I was like, "You know what would be the most Indiana thing to do ever is just let somebody that you're blowing out come back and fucking lose that game. Have the bet I swear to God, that game 4 best first half I've ever seen in my life. They hit fucking everything. They even hit the fucking fade away into the right corner to go into halftime. Like you're like, holy fuck! They could turn over their head. That shit's going in. Like I'm telling you, that was the first half. And on defense, they held them. They held the best offense in the NBA to 39 points, which was like I think it was a season low for them. Like 39 points and a half in a basketball game is at the NBA level. It's incredible. And you know what it was? They were peeking and showing on screens. For the record, if you wondered why the Pacers have beat the shit out of the Cleveland Cavaliers, is peeking and showing on screens, which is fucking great. I'm basketball, coach basketball too, big basketball fan. Okay, basketball, football, these are my fucking shits. And wrestling and track and field, like these are my shits. I know lots about that. I have a job interview today. I have absolutely no idea what I am interviewing for. Here's the problem I have with other adult men. They're fucking terrible at communicating. So a head coach reached out to me. Okay, hey, I'm sorry. I was going through my emails and I saw your resume. I sent that shit like last year. And he was like, "Oh, I'm assuming you're done with that program at Purdue now." And it was like, "Actually, no, I got a job. I dropped out of that program. What's up? What can I do for you?" And he was like, "Oh, you were applying to coach." Yeah, a year ago. What's up? Like, what am I applying for now? What am I? What's going on, man? Like, what do you need? So I've asked, like, what can I do for you? What do you need? And he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? What do you mean? So now I'm like, and it all came on pretty quickly. So like this interview today, found out about yesterday. I had an idea about it last week where he was like, Tuesday's usually a good day, like whatever. I'm not nervous because the guy is the head football coach and the head track and field coach. And if I've learned anything in my life, it's there's a reason I keep saying, like, what can I do for you, coach? Like, what do you need done? Because I know he has a lot on his fucking plate. He's head coaching two fucking sports. It's fucking hard. It's a big ask of someone. Hmm. And keep in mind, like my employer wants me to do this, so I'm excited. One, I'm excited to not work 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. and be on the outside in of the football coaching community. It's the worst feeling is not coaching, is not having people that you're you're actively participating. This is what this is what capitalism gets you, ladies. Pap smear alternative at home cervical cancer testing. Yeah. I don't know about you. I can't even wipe that good. Y'all are gonna test yourselves for cervical cancer at home, huh? All right. Just throwing that out there. By the way, if I don't make you laugh, you need to see a therapist because every now and then, pretty goddamn funny. Saying so myself. By the way, I've known that this was in the GOP Project 2025 playbook. And I thought like maybe we won't have to talk about this on my show. But Gizmodo wrote an article about how part of Project 2025 calls for the banning of pornography. You know, the problem with banning pornography, again, this is one of those policies that I don't think Republicans are aware who is unfuckable, who's getting no bitches, and who is procuring like large amounts of pornography. I'll say it. MAGA. The unfuckables. We literally are creating a fucking TV show, a cartoon called The Unfuckables, where it stars Donald J. Trump as a baby that's an adult that's a baby. But not goo goo gaga. They mostly scream racial epithets, and they're huge fans of McDonald's, so they're pretty much screaming racial epithets and screaming about how they want McDonald's, and then doing lots of illegal drugs, and apparently extorting people over the phone for a $400 million fucking airplane, and getting away with it, calling it payment for the resort he built using slave labor. So I just want to point out that Qatar gave Donald Trump an airplane because he built a resort in their country using slave labor instead of the Qatari having to pay for it. Did I do that right? Gabby said, "What's Mike Johnson gonna do now?" And I just wanted to point out that was in response to my Republicans are gonna ban porn. Yeah, because when you think about it, when I look at the Republican men, I'm like, no one's sitting on your face. Like, nope, not a single one of you is getting laid. None. Mm-mm. Nope. No, nope. There's nothing sexy. And all the women, I'm just like, ooh. And especially once they open their fucking mouth, right? Oh, this is a good thing. Oh, okay. What kind of art of the deal is it when we had a 10% tariff, you raised it to 145, you almost caused a global financial catastrophe, you walk that tariff back all the way to 10% for 90 fucking days. You gave up all of your ground. Think about it. If we're at 10, I go to 145, and you want to negotiate because it's causing a fucking financial crisis. 65? You see what that is? That's fucking negotiating. You know what's not fucking negotiating? Giving up your position and going all the way back to fucking square one with some shit. Yeah, Laura Loomer was actually prettier before she became the bad guy from the Saw films. Um, Laura Loomer was prettier before she started drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, have you noticed that? They all have like I think it's the drugs, okay? Just so everyone knows. Like I'm pretty sure they're an old school cocaine cowboys. So I'm pretty sure coke and ketamine are like the feature of the Republican Party. You see all the like the really deep pores and their skin just looks like shit. They generally look sickly. There's only a couple of ways you get there. Oh, here, this is hilarious. I hope you're being I hope Santo, I can see some fucking sarcasm when I see it. Okay? And I just want you to make sure that we're on the same page. You're being sarcastic. Right? This is sarcasm. Tell me this is sarcasm. Their reply was Trump is playing chess while you can't see it. No worries. China will concede. What the fuck do you mean? China will concede to what? To what position? We gave up the position. The art of the deal, huh? Did you hear what I said? We were at a 10% tariff on Chinese goods. We went to 145. We are back to 10. We did not make anything happen. We are back to where we were. How is this winning? The score was 0-0. And then it was 145-0. And now we're back to 0-0. Blink if you need help. I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it on the off chance they're like, LOL, I was being sarcastic. How do we get visibility restricted for that? Look, I don't even know what I said. Yeah, Fox News headlines. Yep. That's what I've pointed out in conversations with people I've had is like, you realize that's a Fox News talking point. And they're like, no. And you're like, the fuck are you? What are you, nuh-uh? We got less than 10 minutes left, so I'm not gonna restart. Actually, I'm gonna get out of here. See, the good thing about not really giving a shit about the TikTok audience, right, is that I don't have a problem with just restarting my shit when MAGA decides they're gonna. We're gonna let more people know you're live. Rocky Monday, huh? Yeah, that's what it is. They sit around and watch the pimple popping videos and choose to be the pimple. And you're just like, I don't understand. Like, the whole point was, like, you don't have to live in pain like that. And instead, you were like, I would just rather be unsightly, fucking ugly, and get all over everyone with my dumb ass. You know? That. Never mind. I took that too far. Or when they don't blink, yeah. The problem, Zeke, the problem with the MAGA party is they're not nearly as fucking popular as they think, and they've done nothing but lose. Since election night, they've done nothing but lose. Very little wins out of them, which is perfect. It's perfect. It's exactly what you want. Yeah, I really think that if you really want to get a handle on what's going on in the world, like the things that you're definitely not being told that are definitely happening, I like suppressed news. You can definitely tell, like sometimes the video quality will be a little lower and you'll need a little more context and shit, but on the whole, you just see a lot more content about what Israel's doing in Gaza, what um I think this is a bigger story. And again, I've said this before. So many boys in the school are MAGA. Yeah. You know what? I don't often talk about politics at work. It's not typically very healthy for your mental health to talk about politics at work. Um, I've noticed with the people that I do business with, the biggest tell is the people that I do business with that actually sign up for the program that I sell and try are actively trying to reduce their debt and get out from under their credit card and other unsecured debt. There's no way they're MAGA or Republicans. In fact, it's the people that have like a grandiose sense of self-importance where they're just convinced that your Purdue is stupid. Their math is dumb. I always tell people, "Hey, blame Purdue University. Is my math right?" And they're like, "Yes," every single time. They're like, "Yes, your math is right." Yep. And every single time someone says, "Nope, I got this. I can defeat the dragon," you know. You know. You know somebody that says that they can defy mathematics. And I try to tell them, this is about more money out than in. It's a simple math problem. It's an easy decision to make. This program has an 85% success rate, meaning very few people actually leave this program without finishing it. Hmm. Yep. And when people look you dead in the face that you just told, I'm trying to put $2,000 a month back in your pocket, get you out of this debt. And ultimately, when you're through with this program, you would be putting more than $3,000 into your pocket. And you wouldn't have to live off credit cards anymore, and you would just be cash rich. And they said, paying everything for cash. MAGA. That's the only way. It's the only mentality in the world that could get up against someone with a calculator that's telling them there's no way you can continue to do this. It's not financially sound. We should do this instead. And the people that are like, that makes sense. That's what I've been thinking. I agree. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Those are my customers. Those are my clients. But the people that have decided that they know better, when I tell them, like, you make too much money for bankruptcy, you didn't qualify for consolidation loan. By the way, those are the worst. Often, when we look back on people that have gotten consolidation loans, we'll see that they still have all that debt. Now they just have a loan and they're paying on both. And you didn't think your credit card payments were affordable before. Now you have twice the debt because you got a loan in the amount of debt that you took out. And like I said, it's for me, it's very simple. Only a rational human being with all 10 fingers and toes, you know what I'm saying? Like completely normal human being hears me say, you are spending more in interest a month than you have free money. You can't keep doing that. It's about more money out than in. You have to do something different. I know it feels like ripping off a band aid, right? But you've got to stop this. The only people that tell me no, Jared, I got this, fam. MAGA. The only fucking people that would be on your fucking radar that no, despite what you're telling me, I can fucking do it, and you're like, no, nobody beats that dragon. There's a reason my job's the safest job ever. Nah, fam, I got it. I can do it on my own. And you're just like, there's no fucking way. Where are you getting the fucking? We just talked about your budget. We know exactly how much money you make and what you pay for your bills and how much money you got left after it's all said and done. And I'm telling you, most of the people that I talk to are lying to themselves. Maybe not about what they make, but definitely about what they spend. And that's what makes this whole political environment super fucking frustrating. It's like people don't even know what they're really paying for food or gas or their utilities. They actually don't know what their bills cost. They just know that they don't have enough money. And that's the reality of the situation, is they just don't have enough money. Because if you had enough money, then you would probably know what your bills cost and how much money you actually have and shit. But they don't teach financial literacy in the United States. And I'm not saying I've got it all figured out either. I have no debt, but I also have no credit, and I'm not playing that game. But again, I can't help but feel that I'm winning by not playing um, the sort of credit card, personal loan, HELOC, all that kind of shit. And if I can advise anyone on what absolutely not to do, it is do not take a secured loan out on something you already have a secured loan on or that you own yourself. For example, don't get a second mortgage or a HELOC on your house. Don't get a fucking secured loan on your car. Why? Because if you ever fall on hard times, they could take your car, they could take your house, right? So why would you add that risk, right? So it's the whole thing. The game that I'm in is warning people about risk, right? Is warning people like you don't have to die poor. You're choosing to. I can help you manage your money better. I'm terrible at it, but that's mostly just because I haven't had money my entire fucking life. I've just been poor like everybody else. This is the first job I've ever had at 41 where the money is putting me in a position to actually have money to talk about at the end of the month. What are we going to do? You know? Instead of being like, oh, we're negative. Awesome. Again. Mm-hmm. Yep. I spent the last 3 decades in school. Want to know why I'm so fucking dangerous? Because the skills that were required in high school, reading comprehension and simple mathematics, those were my best teachers. My most tenured teachers were my math teachers and my English teachers in high school. When I got to Purdue University, my most tenured professor, English. My second most tenured professor was a Vietnamese mathematics teacher at Purdue University. Professor. And all the early education I got was from absolutely brilliant human beings in the two of the most important subjects to master as a young person. And then when I got to college, because in my opinion, people look at the fact that I didn't graduate from Purdue with a degree in flight, for example, as though I failed. The FAA went on a hiring freeze and the job market was destroyed. And it was either I get another $50,000 in student loans to complete this program, or I withdraw, join the Marine Corps, pay into the GI Bill program, and then maybe the job market will recover to the point where I could get back into that industry. Except now I have a degree that I use the GI Bill to pay for, right? And then my dumbass comes out of the military and has fucking upper management says, "You went to Purdue? Went to a Catholic school in South Bend." Fuck yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. Boiler up, baby. And then when I came home from the Marine Corps, My hearing was destroyed, so that's why I didn't go back to the air traffic control because I have fucking tinnitus and my ears ring constantly. Uh, and so I went back to school and got a degree in graphic design with a focus on social media and project management because my best friend at the time was an incredible graphic artist and he was not being paid commiserate with his skill set. And so I went to school to get a degree to be able to speak his language, to be able to sell his ability. And then ultimately decided he didn't want to be friends with me because I'm not religious. I didn't go to church with him. I always said no. And then I went back to school for data analytics. And I went through the data analytics program. And I was really learning. I was really having a good time. Right up until they changed their tune during the capstone courses at Purdue in their data analytics program. My tenured professors that teach the lower level data analytics courses, um, they were very anti AI because they saw it as a threat to our survival. And I agree with my more tenured professors that artificial intelligence is a lie and that ultimately it's not just eradicating industry. And for the record, it's destroying capitalism. It doesn't fucking really bother me. Remember, I'm an anarchist. I want the chaos, right? But ultimately, it's destroying whole industries, and it's got super skilled people sitting at home doing nothing or going to work on lesser projects because this administration is super likely to just give away its labor to AI, and I'm just not about it. And so again, if people are like, "Oh, he's a two-time college dropout," yes, I am, but with good reason. The second time I dropped out of Purdue's academic programs is because I sniffed a change in the room and I didn't want to spend the next year and a half, 2 years getting a degree largely focused on AI as a tool that I'm going to fucking use and shit when I would rather know how to do it, right? Instead of just give the work away, I would rather learn how to do the work. Does that make sense? And I think people are so quick to just give it to AI that they're never learning how to do stuff, right? And it bleeds into everything. What do you think what happens when politics and AI, right? Obviously there's Grok and Grok cares about the truth and the truth just happens to be left leaning because again we make so much money in the United States we could all have universal health care, education, income, and housing, and we would rather give that away to Elon Musk, the person we hate the most. The reason that your family members are dying and they can't get their medication, right? They're thinking about cutting Medicaid. That's healthcare. That's healthcare for kids, right? Just making sure we're making sure we're putting that out there. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll take all the good luck in the world. I have no idea what I'm interviewing for. I don't even know. I'm hoping he's devastated. Here's what I'm hoping. There's two worlds. There's a world where he doesn't need me, right? There's a world where he doesn't need me, and it's a waste of my time. And there's a world where he is devastated and he has no one and he feels like all is lost and he's in over his head and I just need someone that can be there. Cool. I'm your fucking Huckleberry. Um, I hope that I don't live in the world where he doesn't fucking need me and he's just toying with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine digging through your emails, finding this email from me with my resume in it, contacting me, emailing with me multiple times, texting with me for days, and then dropping that on me yesterday. Like, why don't you come in tomorrow noon? Without desperately needing my fucking help, right? I wouldn't fucking waste my time. I don't have fucking time like that, right? I'm just trying to think rationally. Like, he is having me there because he desperately fucking needs me, right? There's no way you fucking waste my time like that, right? I ain't talking about like the interview with Tri County, dude. I'm 2 hours minimum away. I was so unlikely to be hired at that first fucking job. This is around the corner from my house. I could be there easily every day. I'm not tied to their education program as a teacher, so I'm more free to move. I have more mobility, I think. So, I appreciate you all being here on this journey with me and supporting me as you have so far. Like I said, I really appreciate it. And I'll try to always be better, like every day at what we do. You know, I know that I'm not good enough in like a lot of areas, but a lot of life is like very overwhelming, right? And so for me, when things are overwhelming, I revert to do what must be done first, right? And so for me, what must be done first is I got to keep showing up, right? I show up every day, right? That's my mission. Like just show the fuck up every day. Look your audience in the eye, whether and the thing about it is I don't have like good days or bad days. It's not how it works. I sleep like a fucking baby. I wake up every morning. I try not to get too down or too up before I get on here for y'all. And just go over the news together. Go over what's really going on in the world together. That's what I'm thinking. He's a better communicator than 99% of the adult men I've ever met in my life. Now, you either need my fucking help desperately, or you're fucking with me and wasting my fucking time. And again, I just don't think I live in that world. I don't live in the world where Pat Mallory, the head coach at Lawrence North High School, decides I'm gonna go fuck with this Marine and would completely waste his time. You know what I mean? I don't think I would do that to somebody. So I don't think he's doing that to me. Anyway, hey, thank you very much for being here. As much as y'all are pretty effusive to me, I'll try to return it. Like, I appreciate y'all. Hopefully, I hope I get a gig with Lawrence North. I hope that what I do does not interfere because I can't imagine them having an issue, right, with me wanting equality for all, especially people that don't look like me. Lawrence North is like it's a inner city school, you know what I mean? And they deserve people like me that have time and talent and education. And absolutely, I have an open invitation to go coach at Hamilton Southeastern, right? But that is a white private. No, no. It's just a pretty white school, right? They have talent.